What's good, y'all, and welcome back to another episode of Turf Talk, where today we'll be talking about time management and relationships, which is a deep topic that I kind of want to get into. So let's jump right in. For those who don't know me, my name is Deuce Boyd. I'm a senior here at Assumption. I'm currently recording this for my podcast class, my senior seminar class with Professor Gilbert. So shout out to him. But yeah, so to start, I came in as a college recruit. I was recruited to come here. I didn't go out my way to find Assumption, but they actually found me. I'm a college athlete, football athlete, like I just mentioned. So that was a big part playing into me making my decision on where I want to go to school. But not only that, it was also where am I going to be most set up after the fact. Once I'm done playing football, where can I be the most successful? So I kind of want to get into the duality of being an athlete and understanding what comes with that, as well as being a student and managing both lifestyles and just figuring out how to combine both worlds in a way to where you can be consistent and just happy and not stressed out. So yeah, let's get into that. So for our first topic, I want to talk about the transition into college and my early college career. So I already kind of gave a rundown about me being recruited here, but I came in around August of my freshman year. Well, it didn't start yet, but I'll start by saying this. I'm an introverted person. I'm not the type of person to be super outgoing, and it might be contradictive hearing me speak this way and knowing that I do a lot of media stuff outside of that. But I'm the type of person to kind of keep to myself and kind of just let things sort out and play out as things go. So when I came in, I wasn't like a super out there guy that's going to just, be in front of everybody's faces. I kind of just wanted my work to speak for itself and for my respect and just my relationships to build just off of that and my integrity and mentality. Luckily, I had two guys kind of looking after me when I committed within the same week or same weekend. I was already meeting up and hanging out with some guys that actually were already at Assumption. So there was a couple seniors, Matt Ringstaff and Keelan Bourget. So I was lucky enough to have them. They invited me over to their house, come hang out, talk ball. I was even working out with them within the next first couple weeks, which then progressed into the next year on our summer breaks and everything. So it really was nice knowing that I had somebody that was kind of looking after me once I got up here in the summer. So that was a big plus that I had. But even with that, I wasn't like the jump out there, make a whole bunch of new friends right away. I still kind of had to ease myself into it because that's just kind of the type of guy I was, especially in the locker room. But after the first couple weeks, I ended up, gravitating towards, people that I noticed are kind of similar to me. One person to shout out, my roommate, Jerron. He's a cornerback, just like me. We came in the same class, and he's very similar, states to himself. I remember the first couple times we actually talked, I seen him watching the Boondocks, and then I was like, all right, I guess I'll sit next to him. I mean, I don't really know anybody other than the two guys I mentioned earlier, but they were on their own thing with their guys, they're seniors, so it's a little bit different. But I was like, all right, I'll go sit with them. So after that point, we kind of grew closer, and then just with us being in the same room, we kind of had a competitive mentality to where we just wanted to be the best, and it kind of just made us closer as people. So we ended up becoming roommates, and then even to this day, we are roommates. But it's just it was just a slow process, at least with me. I needed a little bit, but after going through camp. Camp is usually rough for anybody that knows. Usually it's a good 3 weeks of straight football, working out, running all day in a hot sun. That's the only thing you eat, breathe, sleep, drink, football. So it's a little bit rough, especially as a freshman coming in, but I think I adjusted well. And again, I kind of started ahead of the curve, being around guys that were already around it and knew what to expect when it came to camp. So I was well prepared once I was here, more than I even knew. Moving on, I want to talk about my progression from being a athlete into a student athlete, which is a real thing. Going from that summer camp and being a recruit, going from your senior year of high school of not really doing anything, just kind of just coasting through and finishing up, and then getting into camp and it's just straight football, and you're like, oh, I want to be a starter. I want to be ready to go right now. And then now it's like, boom, first week of school starts. Now you got to go to classes. Now you got to manage your time. Now you only have an hour or so here and there to get that nap that you need while you still have to go to class, still have to make sure you eat, still have to make sure you go watch film, get extra film in on your own time and do all those things. So that was a big transition for me. I think initially I didn't feel like it was because, again, coming from high school, like, and plus, we all know, like, once you graduate high school, you think you kind of know something. So you, sometimes you feel like you're, a little bit better off than what you are. But at the time, I didn't realize it. But I was so behind just off of my lack of focus in the right areas. And I'm not going to say that I was focusing on the wrong things, but it was necessarily how I allocated my time towards them and how I managed that. And that's kind of what I want to get deeper into as well when it comes to time management and also being disciplined. So to start, I want to talk about the first week of school. First week of school, it was cool seeing everyone on campus again, and that's another thing too. It's a lot of distractions now. Everybody's here. There's events. Um, the campus is lively. You got the first couple games going on. You're excited. You've been waiting for this time. So it was so many distractions going on. But I went to class. That was one thing I was always consistent with. I made sure I stayed in class. But especially the first semester, moving on from that first week was um, the hardest part was staying on time and on top of all of my work and not getting behind. When it comes to college work, I'm not going to necessarily say it's hard, but it can get overwhelming if you don't know how to manage it correctly. And that's where I was. I would I would wake up, go to class, come home, be super tired, study film, fall asleep, wake up, watch more film, go over my notes, go to practice, same thing on repeat, do what work I had in class, but I wasn't taking the time out to really focus on, all right, let me get this done, get this done, get that done. So to be honest, by week 3, week 4, and as college athletes and just college students alone, I'm sure if you're listening to this, you can understand this. Midterms sometimes are worse than the finals. And that's where we were at. I hit midterms and I'm like looking at my grades. I'm thinking about my assignments that I let slip, and I'm like, oh my goodness, if I don't lock in, it might be over. I might not even be able to play next semester. So that was the moment that I realized, all right, I gotta lock in. But sometimes it's too late, to be honest. College can get overwhelming. Like I said, you let some of those assignments stack, and now you only got a couple weeks to get it done, or you're down 20 points. Where if you would have got 100, now you got 80. So you got to fight back, kind of against all those negatives, and that's a bad place to be in, especially as a college athlete, because you don't have time to be behind in multiple areas. It's going to affect kind of every pot that you dip your hand in from there. So it's really important to kind of lock in on that, and that's what I keep saying this, but that's what I want to get more into as well, because I think knowing that can change your experience, especially in college, significantly. And I've seen those that can manage that well and how that's positively affected them, and the same in the opposite, to where it's kind of negatively affected them and put them in places they really don't want to be at the end of the day. So that's kind of what I want to say. Biggest advice to that point is just to stay on top of your focus. Make sure that your focus level is in the right headspace. You know where you need to put your time in, and just being aware of that to start. Now, moving on from there, I want to talk about time management and discipline. The biggest thing with time management is knowing your schedule. Knowing your schedule is more important than anything. Uh, it's not like high school where you got to wake up every day at one time and go to the same classes, or maybe you don't have one class this day out of the week. In college, you got, well, at least here, we have kind of like a 2 day schedule in a way. Tuesdays, Thursdays, you got certain classes, and then Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you got certain classes. So a lot of times those classes will carry over. If you have a Monday class, it'll be on Monday and Friday. Sometimes it'll be different depending on what the class is. Maybe it'll just be on Monday, but it's a longer class that you have to be there for. But you want to know your schedule, and get on top of that as fast as possible, because once you know your schedule, you can kind of break everything down from there. If you go through your classes as well, you can go through all your class schedules and syllabuses as well, so you can kind of get a gist of what your semester is going to look like and what you have to get done. And this is also really important when pairing with time management and using your time correctly. So as a college athlete, we I'll just give you a rundown of our basic schedule for the spring semester, since we're coming off of the spring semester. So at the height of our days, we'll have to wake up 6 or not 6 a.m., but like 5 a.m., get out 5:40, work out until about 8. You still got to eat, then you got all your classes for the rest of the day. So in that time, you have to manage when you're going to do your work, and when you're going to get it done. So knowing that, for example, say I have to get up again for another 5 a.m. the next following day, which is what we had to do multiple times this last semester. I'm going to try my best to get all my work done within that time span of me first getting up. So once I finish working out, practice, and eating, once I go to class, as soon as that class is done, if I have an hour block, if I have a 40-minute block, 2 hour block, in that time, that's when you got to get your work done. Because I promise you, once 7 o'clock rolls around, once 8 o'clock rolls around, once 9 o'clock rolls around, you're not going to want to be doing homework assignments when everybody's hanging out. You're not going to want to be worrying about a paper, an essay, when you've been up all day, especially since 5 a.m., doing workouts. Like that's not conducive, and it just doesn't make sense. But at the end of the day, like, I understand the value in waiting that long sometimes, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm honestly a victim of it sometimes too. But at the end of the day, you're just gonna push everything back, pile it up. Like I'm saying, you'll get to that 9 o'clock and be like, man, you know what, forget it. I'll just do it tomorrow. Tomorrow comes, you still have to do everything within that day, whether it comes to schoolwork, football, social life, even personal, just staying positive personally. You still got to manage all that within that day, plus what you missed the day before. So you don't want to get behind on that and stress yourself out and being, I still got to do this. I still got to do that. Just get it done when you have that time in that block, because at the end of the day, those 2 hours, those 2 hours aren't going to make that big of a difference once you're done your next class that you have to go out for, or whatever it may be. And that's kind of how I started managing myself once I figured out that kind of trick. After the second semester, I started using my blocks and my 2 hour free time, hours of free time, to just get that work done and get it done. And also, a lot of schools, I'm not sure how other schools do it, but you have mandatory study hall. So why, in the right mind, why would you want to go do your study hall at 9, 10 o'clock when you're tired, you're ready to lay down, you're ready to get on a game, you're ready to chill with your friends, hang out with your girlfriend, wherever it may be? Why would you want to do that when you can get it done within your day where everyone else may be busy as well? or it's just not that much of a hassle. So I think that's a big thing going into it, and that's really helped me, especially moving forward as a younger athlete and trying to make it on the field and playing a lot. I came in as a freshman and made a big impact on special teams and was a second string nickel in a rotation at corner as a freshman. So I kind of had a lot on my plate when it came to just the college experience in general at the time. Not a lot of guys have to worry about getting in as freshmen, and not to say that as a bad thing, but not a lot of guys have to worry about that and have to think about dressing and doing all of that your freshman year. Some guys, if you're a red shirt or whatever the case may be, sometimes you can get that year, that semester to kind of make that adjustment on your own, hone your skills within that first semester and everything. And I was able to get that, but at the same time, it was a little tougher being in the spot of I got to study film, I got to watch this, I got to make sure I'm on it because I might get in, which is which is a little bit different when talking about that. But yeah, so moving on from that topic, I really want to get into freedom, freedom and responsibility. So one question I have here down is, when you're on time and in rhythm, how does that change your mindset? And like I was saying earlier on getting behind on work, it stresses you out. At the end of the day, when you go to practice, like we'll just start from that last example that I was bringing up. Say I have practice that following morning after missing an assignment or not doing that essay that I wanted to do. That whole time I'm at practice, I'm thinking, dang, I didn't do that essay in the back of my head, and now I got to get this done. And now that's taking away from what I can give on the field, whether that's a 5%, 2%, 1%, 10%, however that percentage is, it's taken away from my focus of being there and being the best that I can be, especially on the football field. So saying that, I just want to say it all works together, all goes hand in hand. All elements of your life work hand in hand with how you handle them. And if you're not going to be on time, um, doing your work, getting your work done, setting up a good schedule to where you're not going to be stressing about that all the time, is going to impact your experience on the field, in your social life, in your general relationships, and that's the biggest thing is limiting that so you can actually enjoy college and just enjoy it for what it is. And the next question is, can you actually feel free while juggling this much? And the answer is yeah, but it's really all up to you. And that's the biggest thing. It's up to you. If you're able to get your work done, knock it out, get out the way, and then enjoy your time, go hang out on the weekends, get your work done, wake up, do your workouts, you're gonna have a great college experience no matter where you're going. And obviously there's the anomalies, but if you can get that schedule down and make sure within yourself you're able to mold that. Obviously, if there's certain situations where you gotta move on from certain schools or what have you, obviously those situations happen, but you'll be giving yourself the best chance and putting yourself in your best interest. Being able to conduct yourself that way and handle your own schedule, to just give yourself some freedom. Another question that I have is, do professors typically support your schedule as a student athlete? So this is a great question too, because a lot of people, I think, paint professors out to be negative. And yes, there are going to be certain professors here and there that are going to not necessarily like a student athlete based on how active they are in the classroom. But one thing I want to say, at least here at Assumption, communication is a big thing. If you're able to communicate with your professor and let them know, hey, I got this game next week in Pennsylvania, so it's going to be tough for me to get done this essay on this day because we got to study, watch film, and do this. Would you mind if I got a day extension so I can get it done when I get back? Having that communication, being able to tell your professor they'll almost always give it to you. Like I haven't ran into a situation where I've asked for extension on a paper, um, anything along those lines to where if I'm actually not going to be here and I need some help, they wouldn't help me. And even in the event that I wasn't, hemmed up by a game or anything along those lines, even if I just came to them and asked them like, "Hey, I need a little help, a little extension on here on this or that," they'll most likely give it to me, and that's just off of them being good professors. So, as a student athlete, it's always important to take advantage of that and to be very vocal. Sometimes it can be easy to be like, "Oh, they just know," or "I'll be able to handle it." And then that day comes and you're like, "Oh, I'm stressing." And now you're behind on that paper and you turn it in and you're like, "Oh, well, I had all this going on, but the professor doesn't know about that now." So now they can't really help you because you didn't really ask for it. So be open and don't be afraid to ask your professors, your teachers. Um, don't be afraid to ask them for anything. I'm sure they're going to try to figure something out. And at the end of the day, a lot of them have been in your shoes as well, whether that's been in a student athlete field or a work student field or whatever that case may be. I'm sure they can relate in some sort of way to understand and try to help you out, especially if you're vocal and you're trying. That's the biggest thing. They want to see your effort and see how invested you are in your class to see whether they're going to help you or not, or give you the benefit of the doubt. I think sometimes it's very easy to assume that a professor is not going to help you, but a lot of times they're on your side as long as you use them as a resource. What is the danger of just going back to your room? So this is a big part too, and this is a big tip. Please listen up for student athletes. I know how it is. You go through a long day, you're tired, exhausted. Man, I need to go to the room. I'm taking a nap. I got to. Two reasons why that's not a good idea and why you shouldn't go back to your room, especially during the day, while you still have classes and meetings like that going on. One, once you take that nap, ain't no telling when you're gonna get back up. And I promise, I promise you don't know. I mean, you can set your timers, you can do what you got to do, but at the end of the day, once you're asleep, it's gonna push everything back. You're gonna be up a little bit later. You're gonna be a little bit more awake at the end of the day. Sometimes it's easier to just consolidate your sleep schedule and make sure it all works out and makes sense. Once you start staying up, now you're up till 12 and you got to get up at 6. Now you're up till 2, 1 o'clock and you got to get up till 6. When if you didn't take that nap, you'll be on time going to sleep. You'll be in your bed, good sleep schedule, wake up fresh and positive. And it's important too. Your sleep definitely reflects your emotional state as well at times. So that's one big thing too. You don't want to throw off your sleep schedule. You just don't you don't want to make it harder on yourself already. Like, college is tough just going through it. So you don't want to make that another thing too. Now you're going through it exhausted and dragging your feet. You don't want to do both. And the second reason is just stay out. The second you go back to your room, you kind of give yourself a reason to rest. Your body sometimes works like it works like this. The second you get to your room, it relaxes. It's like, oh, all right, I'm here, which is a good thing. But at times you gotta like I said earlier, when you gotta get your work done, you gotta study on huddle, you gotta be up. Sometimes just go to the dining hall. Let me just watch it in here while it's just stuff going on. Let me grab some food and watch. Let me just chill in the dining area or the where everyone is, or just sit outside on a bench. Something along those lines to where you're not going to give yourself an excuse to fall asleep in your room or to be distracted by something else, because that time is going to be made up at the end of the night anyway. Even though it feels like, oh, I need it now, you're going to get that time. And it's always better to get into that habit and rhythm of a schedule, because now that you're at college, mom's not telling you when you got to do your work. Dad's not telling you, yo, you got to go work out. Your school is not telling you, hey, you got to get up at 8 o'clock to be here. Sometimes, if you don't want to go to class, your professor's not going to say anything. You're paying for it. And at the end of the day, if you miss something important to where you needed to be there, you got to go out your way to figure out what that is and get it done. So it's a lot different, and it's all on you at the end of the day. So it's best to just kind of stay on top of it and follow follow a schedule. I'll say that, follow a schedule. What's the biggest takeaway that I learned about time management? Biggest thing is use your time slots when you have them. Like I mentioned earlier, if you have a couple hours before your next class and then you're done after that class, use that couple hours to bang out whatever else you got to do, all your schoolwork in that time, so you're not stressing by the end of the night, so you can enjoy from 4 to 6 or 6 to not 4 to 6 4 to 10 o'clock or 6 to 10 o'clock, whatever, until you go to sleep, so you can enjoy that time for what it is and not have to worry about some school stuff. I promise you, it's just gonna ease your life. What would be my advice to a high school athlete preparing for college? My biggest thing is be yourself, don't be scared, and just set that schedule for yourself. At the end of the day, you're going to have your own freedom. You're going to be yourself. You're going to be your own human. So you're not going to have mom telling you when to get this done, that done, like I mentioned earlier. So be yourself and set a schedule that works for you so you can stay on time, so you can get your things done when you need them to be done. It's going to be a lot of moving parts and a lot of things going on. So at times it may be pretty overwhelming, but if you have that schedule to stick to, you'll get through it no matter what, as long as you're on top of it and just have your goals in mind that you want to get done so you don't get behind. And the last thing I just want to let listeners know is that as a student athlete, sometimes we go through a lot. It's more, but I think it's manageable, and sometimes it's a good thing to where once you move on to the real life, you're able to kind of handle these high stress situations. You're able to be productive when you have a lot going on, and I think college is a big way to test and see who you are as a person, if you're able to handle that, and if you're able to manage and adapt to certain schedules and different expectations of teachers, coaches, parents, everything under the sun. So the biggest thing I just would want someone to take from this is create your own schedule, be confident in yourself, and at the end of the day, just be yourself. Again, just be yourself. I think college sometimes can force people into a hole where they feel like they gotta fit a mold or be this type of person or that type of person. Just be yourself and let that take you where it's going to be. At the end of the day, a lot of times putting that mask on, trying to do things for maybe a reason that's not fully genuine to you, is never going to be conductive. At some point, it's going to come back and bite you. So just be yourself, create a schedule for yourself, and you'll be fine, especially as a student athlete. So, just to wrap that up, thanks to everyone that was listening. This is the second episode of Turf Talk. Make sure you come back for the next episode. We'll be talking a little bit more about time management, but mainly the duality of football and my major in communications and media, and just managing the media outside. So that'll be a more combo episode of putting both of those lives together, and just how that created my identity as it is today. And so we'll get more into that next episode. Thanks to everybody that sat here and listened. But I appreciate everyone listening. Make sure you tap in and subscribe. We got another one coming out soon. So yeah, thanks to everybody. Peace out.